So, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you can hear me clearly. Uh, Please type something in chat if you can hear me and see me and me and Yuri. So I here we have 6 people. Okay, maybe let's begin our talk. So, welcome to Kotlin conference overview. Before we begin, I should mention that this talk is being recorded and it will be available on YouTube after the talk. And you can ask and post your messages here in chat and show emotions. And we will, during the session, we will periodically check it and answer some questions, if any, yeah, or delegate it to ChatGPT. So let me introduce speakers today. Uh, Me, Alexander, and Yuri Starzynsky. We work at EPAM as software engineers and develop mobile applications on Android, and we use Kotlin at work. And we are from Poland, Krakow. So thanks to EPAM, we had a chance to attend Kotlin conference in Amsterdam. It was our first experience of attending a large and serious conference dedicated to single technology. And today we wanted to present a talk and share our feelings, thoughts about the conference, how was it organized, and we would like to highlight some Kotlin keynotes, features, and share interesting information about interesting talks that we visited. So most of the speech will be not technical, but I hope you enjoy. Let's begin with a conference overview. Let me introduce a brief history about Kotlin conference. It is organized by JetBrains company that develop Kotlin language and IDEA and Android Studio. The goal of the conference is promotion Kotlin language, and they would like to share information about language direction, future plans, and community. The event has been held since 2017. The conference has taken place 3 times, and after a long pause, it was currently resumed. So I'm a person who not strictly followed the news of JetBrains Kotlin team, and I was a little bit surprised that Andrei Bresvalov is no longer the Kotlin lead, and he's not Kotlin lead of language, and he is not working at JetBrains. And Roman Yelizarov replaced him, and Roman is known as a developer of Kotlin coroutines, and he opened the conference. And from what I found and understood, the main reason why Andrei left Kotlin projects is burned down. And on YouTube, you can find a lot of interviews with Andrei where he shared information about this burn down. And it's interesting because even if you are a creator, modern and popular language, it doesn't mean that you're a happy person. So where it was. The conference was in Amsterdam, Netherlands. The key fact about Netherlands, it's very, it's has a reputation for quality of life, excellent public transportation system, and culture where bicycle above everything. And some part of Netherlands located below the sea. And if you visit Amsterdam, you will feel a special smell in the air because today is the season of tulips blooming. I can also suggest visiting some museums, but it's part of another talk. You can ping me in Teams. I can share my top of museums in Amsterdam. So the venue located in the big, in the city center, in the very big building with some history. It was former trading center, and currently it's a modern place for organizing conference. And at the start of the conference, we received a merch with lanyards with different colors. Orange for person who like privacy and don't want to be captured by photo and video, and violet for person who doesn't care about privacy. And we also had as a merch plastic bottle that we can refill from dispensers, and t-shirts that were a little bit oversized. There were also located a shop with JetBrains and Kotlin merch, and yeah, you can buy anything you want. And as you may see on slides, it was a really beautiful location with interesting historical details, and it seemed sometimes that you was located in a church. And there were some local meme that one speaker presented at the talk, and I found many tweets, and people think the same, that it's similar to Cotton Church. Maybe it's really a good place to pray for holy multi-platform. So there were a lot of partners, very popular, like Google, uh, Gradle, Amplify, Amazon, and you can visit interesting spots with them and even have a discounts or win in lottery MacBook Mini, or you can try eat Gradle chocolate, but I don't know what's the taste of it. So the biggest spot was dedicated to JetBrains, because yeah, they are organized of the conference. And yeah, you can speak with JetBrains devs. Maybe you can also try their products. And I collected pin from this stand with a Kotlin language. Under the ground of this place, located a chill out zone, lounge zone, where you can charge your device and spend time without visiting technical tools in more quiet and chill atmosphere. The conference was perfectly organized. The schedule was really big, more 7 streams at the same time, and more than 70 talks, maybe more. The first day was dedicated to workshops. Yeah, but didn't visit because it cost additionally more than 500 USD. And the second and the third date was dedicated only to talks. Sometimes it was really difficult to choose proper talks. That is why I would recommend to watch these talks, and they are already available on their YouTube channel. You can watch each talk. So, and there is also a mobile application developed in with multi-platform approach. It's available on GitHub, but it's maybe a modernized application from the previous conference. And I could say that it works not perfectly, and it's not because it contains some annoying bugs. Like, for example, if I would like to open details of talks, yeah, when I return back, my scroll appears somewhere, not at the same place when I was before. But anyway, the schedule in this application was correct, and I used a lot. I also voted for talks that I like. So the food, I hope you eat before the talk. The food after each talk, between talk pauses, there were coffee pauses and lunch breaks, and catering was really perfect. It wasn't just usual pizza and beer like I used to eat in Minsk. I can say this mixture of local cuisine, Netherlands, Indonesia, with some kind of food for vegans, of course, and it was enough food. I even borrowed to make a photo. Believe me, you wouldn't you didn't need to go outside and eat outside. You can spend time here. And as I introduced in the talk agenda, my favorite food was a potato with herring and of course chocolate with macarons. And after the first day, after the second day, there were after party with cover bands that play some retro songs from 90s and a lot of free drinks. So let's move on to the part that dedicated to Kotlin keynote, and I will introduce Yuri to share the information about it.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining this review session today. So, it was my first experience attending this type of conference, and today I would like to share some key highlights of what was presented there. And my personal thoughts about it, like a little bit. So, I would like to speak about satisfaction, 2.0 Kotlin, multi-site features, notebooks ecosystem, foundation, and a little bit multi-platform. So let's start from the satisfaction. So JetBrains during the conference shared that 86% of the Kotlin users on all platforms were like satisfied with the Kotlin. And this is the main number that JetBrains strive to do better. So key to compiler, it's significantly faster. This is like most notable improvement in the new compiler is a sustainable increase in compilation speed. So with the new architecture, the compilation pipeline will be twice as fast. So key to compiler frontend is not just like a refactoring of the old compiler frontend, but a complete rewrite from the scratch based on the new architecture. In short, the new architecture is faster and more extensible by the design. Kotlin 2.0. Kotlin 1.9 will be released later this year, but there will be no Kotlin 1.10 right after 1.9. They will continue to work on stabilization on Kotlin 2.0. And right now, the main goal of JetBrains is our transition from Kotlin 1.9 to Kotlin 2.0 as smooth as possible according to the new compiler. And this is a major update to the compiler that significantly improves everything, like performance and all of that. Also, as you know, like Kotlin is a community-driven language, so it is based on the feedbacks collected from the issue tracker votes and language feature surveys. So JetBrains are pretty clear in the direction, and the community directs and decides in which directions they should move based on. Let me introduce short overview of some of the most wanted features in a Kotlin, which are planned for release after Kotlin 2.0, like static extension, collection litters, name-based instructions, context receivers, and exclusive fields. Let's start from the static extensions. This was like literally most voted issue in the community. So let's describe it a little bit. So from your own code, you can define like the companion for the class that declare an extension of the companion as simple as it is. But if that is a third-party class and it doesn't have a companion object, then you can't do that because this code will not like compile. So static extension provides us a solution here that you can declare them on any class using new syntax static soft keyword. Collection literals. In Kotlin, today, like when you have a property with a list of strings, for example, command line arguments, when you need to pass actual list of strings to this property, you use like list of function. Like you use it everywhere. And when your code contains a lot of configuration or otherwise it's like data heavy, the list of calls don't do any value, just standing as a visual noise. And it not really improves the syntax. So collection literals will also be work like with domain specific types, for example, like persistent set. And it gives us the opportunity to define it with like square brackets to create our list. As you can see on the right screen, for example, like request mapping. So the syntax is the same that already was used in annotations, and it will be just proceeded with the default list. Name-based instructions. So collections are positional, but data class is like name-based for the most parts. And when you create the data class, you specify the name of the properties. So when for example, like when you're thinking about like deserializing the data class from the JSON of your database, it is usually names matters, not the order of the properties. So now, when you have an instance of that class, you can destruct into variables using destructing declaration syntax. But this syntax is positional. So as you see like on the screen, it is not name-based. So the problem is too easy to make a mistake. You can flip the properties around and your code will compile, like first name, last name, no matters. And it can happen when you just refactor data classes. So this feature will solve this problem at all. A lot of people already know about like the context receivers. It already was introduced previously, but to keep the story short, uh, context receivers provide a cleaner solution where we can explicitly declare the context of the function. So we can clearly distinguish between the actual parameters we are using in a function's works within a context our function works with. So on the left side, you can see like the example, like workaround of that. And on the right side, this is like the final solution. So the context is like separate from just the parameters. Small but very helpful feature, explicit fields. The problems they solve is likely known to many of you here. Suppose you're writing a holder for your mutable state, maybe a mutable state flow, but you want to keep it private because it is mutable. So you're creating a private backend field for that, just like copy pasting all the names and all of that. So that is a lot of the boilerplate code. So what is a comp is just a single property in your code. And with this new syntax, you can explicitly declare the type and the value of the private backend field for a public property. So no more boilerplate, view models. Kotlin notebooks. It will be soon released, the first preview. It will be also integrated into IntelliJ IDEA. So Kotlin notebooks are interactive worksheets. This is like the playground which reach out that allows you to explore, like experiment with your Kotlin code without additional environment setup. So for clearer and more detailed understanding, I advise you to scan the QR code and see the presentation of this feature and at the opening of the conference, because in that video you will also see like the integrations with ChatGPT and DataFrame, and it was like really awesome. So Kotlin DSL and Gradle Kotlin DSL, among of other exciting announcements, the Gradle Kotlin DSL will become the default build language starting in Android Studio Giraffe. So with this change, users will get a much improved experience over Groovy, as Kotlin provides inlay hints, semantic highlights, navigation, and code completion. And these features are critical for working with unfamiliar or complex build scripts without knowing all of the rules. Ecosystem. As of 2023, the number of GitHub projects using the Kotlin as a primary language has surpassed 1 million, and Kotlin multi-platform ecosystem shares the same growth rate. Next slide, please. Yep. And we are going next to the Kotlin Foundation. So Kotlin Foundation launched a grants program for multi-platform libraries and frameworks to enhance the sustainable development of the Kotlin ecosystem. So prospective projects will be selected for grants based on their ability to meet the criteria. And some of them, like how well the project addresses a common problem in the Kotlin ecosystem with a bias toward multi-platform solutions, how effectively the project has been able to respond to security issues and bug reports, as well as Kotlin and library updates. And probably one of the major ones will be like outlines a strategy for how the grant will be used to improve the project. And let's go further for the multi-platform. Kotlin, quick story short, Kotlin multi-platform approach is unique and is not either cross-platform or native. For example, like React Native or Flutter or whatever else, it can be both. So depending on your requirements and the state of your development, you will decide which parts to share. So you can combine both native and cross-platform parts of your application. And so this is like really awesome. So where are we now? So as I mentioned previously, that Kotlin multi-platform has experienced incredible adoption and boosts a rapidly growing ecosystem thanks to significant community contribution. And JetBrains have successfully validated concepts such as such as memory management, project configuration, multi-platform libraries. And in 2023, they are fully committed to bringing Kotlin multi-platform to a stable release. Another one major theme that Compose for desktop becomes stable. And one of the most popular examples is a Toolbox app, which is used by a million people to manage their JetBrains IDs. So if you're interested in this topic, all the recordings from the conference have already appeared on the YouTube channel, and you can watch You Can Do Desktop by Victor Krop. It will be talk especially for the Toolbox. And one of the major things for all in the multi-platform people, it was like Compose for the iOS. So the alpha version of Compose multi-platform targeting iOS is now available, and now they can use to build the same app on Android and iOS like fully. A working prototype of the Gallery application was presented at the conference, where the application was really simple, but you could view like photos, share them in social networks, really basic, but it works. So the benefits of shared TI from mobile development are significant, like the natural flexibility of multi-platform empowers you to choose whether to share your app's business logic and keep the UI native or go cross-platform for both. But as I mentioned, it's still alpha. And everything is up to you. So another one stuff was like the Compose Web. Compose Web is based on Kotlin Wasm. Is the newest target for the Kotlin multiple platform projects, and it all Kotlin developers to run their code in the browser with all the benefits that WebAssembly has to offer. So, like such as a good as predictable performance for applications. So this was like the major keynotes. Thanks.
Okay, let's proceed with talks part. As Yuri and me said, all talks available on YouTube channel uh, of conference. And together with Yuri, we visited a lot of talks, of course, and but we decided to highlight maybe the most interesting, and I will try to not share a lot of spoilers and make a brief introduction of these talks that has maybe from my perspective high quality and were well presented. So the first talk, of course, about from Roman Yelizarov, Kotlin lead. Yeah, is talk about coroutines and Loom. First of all, it's always interesting to listen to Kotlin project lead because you may understand Kotlin team cares about. And to introduce this talk, let's say the battle between OpenGDK and Kotlin is continuing. Java is preparing revenge against Kotlin coroutines. The project called Loom, which is in preview state. Yeah, and Loom is kind of virtual threads, but it's complex to explain how it works. At a glance, Loom is kind of replacement coroutines, but yeah, and maybe you have a question: should we choose between these two technologies? In speech, in this talk, Raman compared Loom and coroutines, pros and cons, their goals, how they work under the hood. And I can say that, yeah, Loom, of course, is not replacement of coroutines, but Loom will help to improve Kotlin coroutines with performance in some cases. In other words, it will be possible to use two these technologies, yeah, and have benefits from most of them. Yeah, please find more information on from this talk on YouTube. The second talk that recommend it's layout animation shows because me personally like animations, and I didn't try to use them in Compose multi-platform. This talk is just a guide to all animations that can be used. The presentation is very visual with a lot of animation examples. The presenter was really prepared and confident, positive. Uh, Minimum boring details, maximum fun, easy to follow. My recommendations and examples available on GitHub. So the second talks, I combined them because it presented from Martin Brown, He is Android developer relations engineer. I don't know what the title means exactly, but probably their job responsibilities, relation engineers, is to conduct talks and share knowledge with new technologies. Basically, these talks were a paraphrase of Google developers documentations that was recently updated, and I can say that it's really good introduction to this documentation. Martin explained how to test coroutines, flow with recent API, and use libraries for testing like Turbine. And the second talk was he shared knowledge about common mistakes with coroutine and Jetpack Compose. It will help, let's say, solve some performance issues. So the next talk, it's a story about guys from Pinterest that tried to use Jetpack Compose from 2021 in production in Pinterest application, of course. At the beginning, team was very happy, motivated to use it, and as a result, they have performance issues and they cannot solve it. Yeah, as you may see, they on the slide they spent a year of investigation this performance problem. And what's the lesson learned? What went right? What went good? Maybe wrong? You may find in this talk. So let's go to the next talk that I can advertise. It's talk about maybe Kotlin on backend. A little bit similar the previous talk. Um, I can have no picture here for this talk, but maybe this picture describes more about this talk. So the scale of this refactoring is much bigger. Uh, Developers from Adobe decided to rewrite code and replace Java with Kotlin. And the code exists more than 12 years. What could have gone wrong? Yeah, if you change something that works 12 years. Yes, the first implementation of their conversion was very quick. Team was very happy. Test showed very good results, promised great perspective, economy in their request. They potentially can save a lot of money, but unexpectedly success story converted into kind of epic fail because they decided to test it in real data close to release, and as a result their improvements worked worse than before on Java. I can only spoil here that uh, they will find problems not in Kotlin, hopefully, but Kotlin helped guys reveal other bottlenecks, and they are still in progress of their refactoring and seems to be in a way to success. So, and maybe the final talk that I would recommend, of course, from Jake Wharton, is Android legend. He's creating own libraries probably each week, and he prepared some of them for multi-platform. Redwood, the first library that he introduced, it helps to use Jetpack Compose language. I mean, the way how to compose UI, but in his implementation on Android, it converts code to native UI widgets. A little bit strange, yeah, but it works faster than usual Jetpack Compose, and Jake solved a lot of performance issues. On iOS, it used under the hood Swift UI. But yeah, you can find all details in GitHub, yeah, and read about more in these libraries. And brief introduction of Zipline. Zipline is kind of uh, it's a QuickJS JavaScript engine that works and helps to update your application without play Google Store updates. Yeah, you just fetching code like usual web application and help in some cases. And Jake also introduced the third library, Treehouse, is combination of Redwood and Zipline. He promised that it will show real power, but it's still not available on GitHub, not released. But Jake just announced it. You can watch in this talk. There were another talks that we visited. Yeah, I can maybe briefly explain in one sentence what they were talking about. So the first talk is just a review Kotlin multi-platform libraries that's very popular for data storage, for shared platforms, and something like this. The second talk, it's a talk from manager who has a team that develop multi-platform applications, and he shared a lot of pain how to build multi-platform application, and especially as the main problem how to engage iOS developer to write code in Kotlin. Yeah, it's really difficult, and he shared some approach. The third talk was dedicated to libraries that helps JetBrains to test uh, concurrent algorithms. The guy who develops this application, this library, reported many issues for Java concurrent collection. That's why maybe it's interesting to listen to him. So, and these three talks, the first talk from Kenya, mm, it's about maybe building server-driven UI on Jetpack Compose. If you fan of watching Pojo models uh, on each slide, maybe it will be good for you to learn more about server-driven UI. The second talk is from Slack company that developed own library for architecture on Jetpack Compose and navigation. And this library helps to reduce boilerplate. And the final talk, it's about experienced guys from Google that use KMM in workspace. They decided to share some business logic, but from what I understood, they really happy, but they use in this in experimental. So, and yeah, as introduced at the advertising of this talk, ChatGPT, of course, it's hot topic today, and many speakers mentioned ChatGPT in each presentation, and it was like they asked ChatGPT to write some code, and he did it in a wrong way. Haha, stupid ChatGPT, something like this. But they seem to be nervous about ChatGPT, and they said that ChatGPT is not replacing of them, but they were smiles. They have smiles with tremble. So yeah, let me make a conclusion of our talks, and I would like to divide it to parts. First part, it's my impression about visiting such conference. Mm, I can say it was really amazing to visit offline conference, despite the average quality of some talks and my skepticism about offline conference. It was really cool. I spent great time because I was very focused to uh, during all events, and I learn more and more information about Kotlin and start love it more and more. um, it really inspires. I also was happy to see people who develop the best tooling for me. Yeah, and like a JetBrains team. Yeah, and it was a pleasure to see how auditory Kotlin is big and how it's diverse. I didn't see so many Kotlin developers at the same time at the event. So yeah, I understand that today time is difficult, that not everybody had a chance to visit conference, but I can advertise a little bit EPAM here, that EPAM supports contributors. Of course, if you would like to speak on such conference as a speakers, we help you to do it and help to organize it. And if you're interested, yeah, you can ping me in Teams chat. I want to share more information. So yeah, we are looking for contributors. And the second part about my conclusion about multi-platform, I can say it. I can share my information from point of view uh, as a developer who used KMM in production and Flutter in production a little bit, and I'm still a little bit skeptical about Kotlin multi-platform. Let me say why. The first, multi-platform still in the beta. Kotlin, JetBrains developed it so long time, so long efforts the team spent, and you see on this slide, yeah, it's slide from the previous conference from 2019, if I'm not mistaken, and it means that team has another, uh, let's say, agenda, another schedule, and they changed plans many times. So, and other aspects why I little bit skeptical. There is no common opinion how to develop multi-platform apps in Kotlin. How should we share UI? Should we share business logic? And the most interesting question: how to engage other native developers like iOS developers to write code in Kotlin. And there is also not so many guides and libraries that we can to use. And of course, we are talking about a big elephant in the room. Is named Flutter. It's a main competitor. Mm, and Flutter today is more known and widely used in comparison with Kotlin. Flutter has more, let's say, biggest achievement, yeah, at that current moment. And at EPAM, I can say that we have many Flutter developers, but I do not hear much about Kotlin multi-platform projects. Maybe in some we have some experience, but I can say that on the other side, Google supports these two technologies. I don't know what game Google play, but it worked for these two. And positive fact that Google converts their libraries to multi-platform. That Google also do some experiments, include code written in multi-platform. Yeah, and also Jetpack Compose for iOS. It's some kind of game changer. Yeah, we'll see. Basically, the future of Kotlin depends on community, on us, on you. Yeah, and JetBrains ask for people for help for raising awareness about it. Even this talk, it's kind of small help to raise awareness about Kotlin multi-platform. And Kotlin team believes that the efforts pay off. And from a toy came in from a toy of Android enthusiast will be converted to a widely used technology. Yeah, and as Kotlin team says that final goal is to maybe replace all language in the world, but it's joke. Yeah, and uh, yeah, to sum up, I can say that today is a good time for each developer to try multi-platform, whatever technology you use, you choose Flutter, KMM, React Native. Uh, it helps you, let's say, to move from comfort zone to try something new, to challenge you. It helps to write more clean code because you should separate layers. Yeah, and it also maybe will help you to fight with ChatGPT. uh, yeah, I didn't say win. So really I believe that multi-platform it's trend right now, and each technology like you see uh, on the slide, yeah, tries to invent approach or right ones and use everywhere. And uh, previously I was a lover of native UI approach, but today I can say I don't know what my applications on mobile phone, what uh, platforms they use. Yeah, if the application works great without bugs, with good UX, I can say it's enough for me. Yeah, I don't care it's written on Flutter or not. Yeah, try multi-platform. And thank you, guys. Maybe Yuri would like to add some details.
Yeah, I will add a little bit more about my conclusion. So, from my side, I was pleasantly surprised how it was like all organized. It was like really well. The place was great and everything was really nice. According to the multi-platform, this was like the main topic on the conference. And from my opinions, that we are still in a state where there is no big players on the market who will like take it upon themselves to lead the community, and like everything is written and proceeded with the community, and it's like so tons of approaches and how the people like solving different problems in that. But also we know like several well-known developers who has like a successful story for the multi-platform, and nowadays it's probably great. So you can start like sharing the logic beside like the constants and proceeding like networking presentations, and right now also with the UI according to the iOS alpha. So I will also will be doing that.
Okay, thanks guys for attending these talks. Thank you for watching. You can, let's say, ask some questions, or we can answer right now or after this talk. Uh, yes, thank you for joining us today. So, uh, don't know, no talks. Okay, we can end our talk. Yeah, guys, visit KotlinConf YouTube channel. You can find a lot of interesting talks, keynotes, release, and try multi-platform. Thank you and bye.
Thanks all. Bye.